Tyler Perry, you know him, the media mogul, Atlanta star. He's got a lot of titles. One of them is philanthropist, and he had been working via his team to try to deliver gift cards, and pretty sizable ones, to TSA officers working at Hartsfield-Jackson. And then it became this real roller coaster of back and forth. Can the TSA officers keep the gift cards? Yes, they can. No, they can't. Yes, they can. No, they can't. It was a long process. Our Cheryl Preheim has been tracking it every step of the way. And Cheryl, it really was. You used the word roller coaster the other day.
Yeah.
And we're on the outside reporting this, but for these TSA officers who have been working without pay, a lot of them have bills that are piling up. The question of whether they can get this money and access it or not was a big one. And now there's a happy ending.
Yeah, a happy ending to days of confusion and back and forth over these TSA gift cards from Tyler Perry. I just had a chance to confirm with Tyler Perry's spokesperson just within the hour, and they tell me that they have gotten documentation from the senior legal counsel of DHS and TSA that this is resolved, that all is well, and the TSA workers can keep that money. And when we talk about that money, we're talking about $250,000 in a donation in the form of $1,000 gift cards for TSA employees. Now, I want to make an important point here. I saw the documentation. Tyler Perry's team had the green light to make this donation before they went back to the airport. They had talked through the legal and HR teams, and so they went there with the green light already, knowing that that was okay.
From the jump, from the beginning.
From the jump. So I think that's an important clarification that Tyler Perry's team wants to make, that they went through the proper channels and the protocol before they made this donation. And I also want to point out that this would have all done privately and under the radar if our sources at TSA hadn't reached out, because they were so thankful and so grateful, and they thought this was so kind and so wonderful. They wanted the world to know. But Tyler Perry never had intended to make this a public gift. And so the back and forth was tough to see.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, because these are the sources that you're talking to, but I would imagine some of the spotlight that's come on this story is also due to the fact that it was not right off the bat something that these TSA officers could cleanly and clearly accept. Had there not been this back and forth about, well, is it in regulations or not for a TSA officer to accept this gift card, a higher likelihood that this would have all been done privately.
Right, for sure. So it started with an initial surprise visit to the airport. I believe that was on Wednesday when Tyler Perry did physically go to the airport. He wanted to say thank you to TSA workers who were working without pay despite those lines out the back door of the airport, under the canopy.
Which literally
was
wrapping
crazy
through
to
the
see.
maze all the way out the door where you drop your bags off, where you drop a passenger off.
Yeah, people standing under the lit up canopy for hours at a time. So he went to say thank you. He took selfies, and he had gone with cash, hoping that he could hand that out. Then he understands that's not how the rules go. So then they start going through the proper channels. The next day, after it's been green lit, his team takes $250,000 worth of gift cards, presents it to management to distribute. And then it was, about 36 hours later, I start getting calls saying we're being told to turn the gift cards back in. So it was kind of layer by layer by layer, which I think was why I thought, well, this is kind of a roller coaster for people who've been through a lot already.
And these folks that you're in contact with, I mean, it has been, and this is almost, putting an underscore under something that doesn't need to be underscored, a really trying time for a chunk of the federal workforce that has been going to work without pay up until this executive order just a few days ago. It had been, well over a month.
Yeah.
And it was the second shutdown that they've been dealing with. We had another shutdown late last year. For the TSA officers, I'm sure it was joy when you first got this news. You're going to get some help from Tyler Perry and a big gift card. And then I'd imagine a lot of frustration and whiplash when it seemed for a moment like they weren't going to be allowed to use this.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, even when I was getting calls from sources saying we have to give the gift cards back, they were still saying, but still, this was a huge morale boost. But still, it meant so much that he made this gesture to us. It still means so much. They were calling him to me over the phone like a modern day Robin Hood. They said he's like the hero of the team. And that's even when they thought they had to give it back, because it wasn't just about the money. I mean, $1,000 gift card is a big deal. But when you haven't been paid for almost 6 weeks, it is a drop in the bucket. How do you pay your rent, your gas, your child care, groceries, all those things, plus interest, plus late fees? I mean, the accumulation was just crushing to people. And in fact, some of them are still having trouble coming out from this because they're still owed some overtime, and it just piles up. So I think you make a really important point. The money was a generous gift. The gesture maybe went the longest way. And I mean, they say that was the biggest morale boost they had seen during the course of this shutdown by a mile.
It's recognition.
Yeah.
For going, I mean, talking about going the extra mile. Understandably, when we're reporting on this, when we're covering this, you see those pictures of the long lines. I think a lot of people snap to the mindset of being a traveler in those lines, and experience many of us have experienced when we're flying, usually not lines to that degree, but your mind kind of goes there by default. But TSA officers were dealing with those conditions too. It was really tough. And it looks like those lines are starting to resolve themselves right now.
A really important point, because none of this diminishes what the travelers have gone through. And I think the TSA workers are the first to acknowledge that. I think they would be driving to work every day in a certain kind of dread, knowing that it's going to be really rough, and understanding that people are exhausted and frustrated and missing flights, and you can't get out of line to use the restroom, and you can't get water, and it is a horrible, terrible situation for all involved. And just imagine driving to work knowing every day you're going to face that. Oh, and then you're not going to be paid. So I just think it's been a challenge for all involved. And so this was kind of a burst of sunshine, a burst of goodness that had a lot of confusion around it. So I'm very happy to be able to share a happy ending to this, because it really is about the gesture. It's about some kindness. Atlanta's own philanthropist who loves to do things in the quiet, so does a lot more than any of us know about. But it's nice to be able to not only share that this was a gesture that was made, but that is now being able to be received.
And a reminder too, when we talk about these policy issues, goings on with the federal government, with Congress, people are still at the heart of the receiving end of the impact, whether you work at TSA, whether you're in the lines traveling, whether you're Tyler Perry. These are people stories and real kind of human events playing out on a one by one scale, even when you see those pictures of so many people in the airport.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheryl, we appreciate it.
I love to bring you a happy ending.
I
wish I could do that every time.
We try to do that all the time here in the streaming studio, Cheryl. And not only is it a happy ending that we love to get, but you've been tracking the story that has been complicated for days here. And your perspective and reporting helped these folks out and helped us understand it better. So thank you.
All right. Thanks. Happy to do it.